And why not? Because we can do it. It's Bobby's PopCast message edition, sliding in the DMs. I don't know what feature to call this, so if you got an idea for it, let's do it. But somebody messaged me, and this person actually wrote me on Friday, and they reminded me again they wanted me to talk about it, so I'm just getting to it. So sorry, Rebecca. She said I could use your name. She's following up on a first date that she had this past weekend. She was going to go on a date, and evidently it didn't go as well as she thought. And we'll get into it. This is what she says. She goes, I thought my date went fairly well, although I'm confused by a comment that my date made about halfway through the night. We were talking about our online dating experiences when he said, I look better in person than I do in my pictures. At first, I thought that was a compliment, but now I'm not so sure. I've heard you talking about this before on when you did your radio show. Yeah, thanks for the sour reminder. Is it a compliment or an insult, Rebecca? Thank you for being a radio listener. I appreciate that. Now a podcast listener. I really do appreciate that. So she says, is it a compliment or an insult? How should I take it? Is he saying I'm not photogenic? I don't really know what to say about this one. If somebody says that I look better than I do than in my pictures, I think that's a compliment because I do everything I can. I work angles, I work filters, all that stuff to make myself feel and look the best when I'm presenting in front of a camera. And so if I look better in person, well, then that means the skin's doing what it's supposed to do. That means the muscles are muscling. That means the fit is fitting. So I take that as a compliment, but I'm also a guy. So you compliment me. I mean, you can really get whatever you want from me. So I don't know how to take that. I mean, I think if he's saying that from a gentleman's perspective, I would say that as a compliment. And I think when guys kind of give a comment like that, they are trying to say that you are more beautiful in person. And I think that's how I would take it, Rebecca. Feel free to weigh in. She says, feel free to ask the podcast listeners what they think. What do you think? Do you think that was a compliment or a diss? I'm going to err on the side of, I think he was being genuine, and I think it's thoughtful. I think it's a genuine compliment when somebody says, you look so good in person compared to your pictures. Maybe you took the wrong picture. Maybe you used the wrong filter. Maybe you face tuned too much. I mean, there's so many apps out there now. So I'm going to err on the side. I think it's a compliment, Rebecca. Relax. I would go on a second date. I'm sure John, Jay, and Rich, who are also on the radio, can follow up on a second date update. Or unless you want to fill me in, I'd be happy to talk about it. We could do Bobby's second date update. Why not? Let's make that a thing on the podcast. So I would rest your little heart, Rebecca. Thank you for watching the podcast, and thank you for allowing me to do this topic. I would say it's a compliment. I wouldn't read too much into it. And I think you are photogenic because I see your pictures that you sent, and it's on your profile picture, and you look wonderful. I think you're a very beautiful girl. So you look beautiful in your pictures, and you probably look even better in person. I think he's saying that's a good thing. Feel free to weigh in as well if you want to help Rebecca out with some self-esteem and some self-confidence. I think she's in her feelings right now. But like I said, Rebecca, I think I would not read too much into it, and everything's good. So you're a pretty girl. Good job, girl. Feel free to weigh in. Thank you once again for watching another episode of Bobby's PopCast, the DM edition. As always, follow me wherever you get your streaming at Bobby's PopCast. I'm on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, and all major socials at Bobby's PopCast. As always, if you've got a problem or a quandary or a query and you want to slide into Bobby's DMs, feel free to message me. My Facebook page is facebook.com/Bobby Kardashian. I know. That's not my real name, but I want to be one. So there you go. Feel free to weigh in and send me your topics and whatever you think, and help Rebecca out. Tell her she's pretty, because she is.